Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We want to thank you tonight. Tonight is the CES Parent Orientation, pre-K, kindergarten, first and second grades. So I see a lot of our staff on here. Welcome to our staff. Welcome to all of our parents. Many of our staff serves, as parents as well. So they wear multiple hats. So we welcome everyone.
And welcome to the Catskill Elementary Town Hall Meeting Parent Orientation for grades pre-K through 2. And just so you know, we're going to be doing a presentation for our grades 3 through 5 tomorrow at 6:30 as well too. So just to make sure that we have equal opportunity for all of our parents to hear what is going on at the elementary school during this COVID time. So Dr. Cook, if you can just turn to the next slide. I know that I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can throughout this presentation, but I know that you're also going to have probably a ton more after you hear this presentation. So just letting you all know, please feel free to reach out to us either at my email, it's up on the board, Mrs. Schlenker's email, or call us at the elementary school, 518-943-0574. Leave a message. We will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Again, we try to limit to under 24 hours response time. Today was a little crazy. We had opening day always is, but this year it's even more crazier. So we definitely will want to get back to you. Even the smallest of questions that you might have, just a clarification questions you might have, please reach out to us. We're here to help out. We want to make sure that we try to make this opening as smooth as possible. And it all depends on, how well you guys are informed as well too. I got to tell you, every time we turn around, there's always more questions popping up. So, no question is a dumb question. I know that's a cliche, but it really is true. Even if you need some clarification, please reach out to us anytime. Okay. So if you want to turn to the next slide there, Dr. Cook. So as most of you already know, our first day of instruction was going to be September 14th. We are in full remote instruction until tentatively October 13th. So we're going to have a full, probably 4 weeks of instruction, virtual instruction. With that being said, our teachers this week are being prepared. They're learning new programs, or brushing up on some new programs. They're getting their classrooms ready. They're getting materials ready for students. So with that being said, our teachers are preparing packets. In the packet, you're going to get some materials, either math manipulatives, some whiteboards, Smart Pals. You're going to get some books, instructional materials. So we ask that you come pick up those materials on those designated days, and we're going to review those in just a few minutes. But we're going to try to get everything to you by this weekend. Whether you come to pick it up or not, we will drive it out to you if we have to, but we do have some evening times or late afternoon times available for you as well. If those don't work for you, please give us a call. We will make every arrangement. So again, in those materials that you're getting from your teacher, you're going to have your teacher, homeroom teacher and the team that they're working with, going to have a welcome letter, just inviting everyone or welcoming everybody to the new school year. It's going to have a schedule of what the remote instruction is going to look like for each individual teacher as well too. It's important that you get that opening letter, opening day before Monday, because in that opening letter is going to be a Google Classroom code for you to log in on that first day. So again, it's very important that you get that code so you can log into your Google Classroom during that first day of instruction. Like I said, we've been doing a lot of work today and this week. We are putting the finishing touches on the schedule or the class list because of the virtual instruction. Some students chose virtual, some family chose virtual. We had to tweak our classroom lists a little bit, so we're putting the finishing touches on that. We hope to have that letter. That letter from me is going to be in the mail hopefully tomorrow. You should be getting it by the end of this week. It's going to talk about the opening day, some new teachers that we have for us, and also talk about some expectations for the new school year. So with that being said, you're probably all wondering about what the virtual instruction is going to look like. The next slide over is going to be kind of a reasonable expectations of what the school day is going to look like for our teachers. They're going to use this as a framework for delivering instruction, designing and assessing, assigning lessons, activities for each day and each week. The times differ by grade level, as you can already tell. You got K1, 2, all the way up until 5. It's a combination of whole group, small group, and independent work. So you take a look at kindergarten, it says 60 minutes a day for ELA. We're not saying that we're gonna be online and you're gonna be in front of a computer for the whole 60 minutes. Teachers will design a whole lesson, might take 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and they will maybe set you off either into smaller groups to do some independent work with a teaching assistant or a teacher aide helping out as well. But also you might do some independent work off the computer. So we're not envisioning that your son or daughter is going to be in front of the computer for 7 hours a day. We're going to build in times to log off, to get lunch, log off to get a snack, log off to do your specials, math or music, library, art, PE, and some breaks in there as well too. So, just take a look at a kindergarten, 60 minutes for ELA, 60 minutes for math, that's every day. Then reading and writing, approximately 30 minutes a day. Science and social studies, 1 or 2 times per week. Now, I should go back again, Dr. Cook. Your special areas, we're going to have designated times in the schedule. So, your teacher might say at 11 o'clock, okay, we're going to log off now, open up your music activity or your music classroom and do the activity for music. That gives an opportunity to get off the computer and do some independent work as well. Music, art, and library is going to be 1 time per week, an activity for that. And PE is going to be 2 or 3 activities per week. Those activities are going to be posted on their classrooms Friday or Saturday. So it gives you the weekend a little bit to get started on that. And then all those activities are going to be due by the following Friday. So it gives you 7 days to complete those special activities. You look at first and second grade, pretty similar, 60 to 90 minutes. It increases as they get older. Those are the expectations that we're looking at for pre-K or for kindergarten, first and second grades. For pre-K, a little different. A lot of times it's the first time that these students are in a classroom in a school. They might not understand how to work a Chromebook or anything like that. Miss Icing is definitely going to start off working with some packets and do some Google Meets throughout the day, in small groups, so she can introduce herself, introduce the kids, do a couple of activities with the kids on the computer, get them used to it, and then work their way into more activity or academic activities moving forward. So those are the expectations. Again, you'll be getting those schedules either Thursday or Friday when you come pick up those packets. And if not, please give us a call and we'll take care of that. Next page, next slide, please. So when we first started this virtual endeavor back in the spring, the expectations of virtual was very, very lax. We did not have a definite expectations for the virtual learning. So what we did, we have a group of teachers that are on my results team, or kind of like department leaders or grade level leaders. And we worked over the summer developing expectations for our learners. So we want to make sure that everyone understand these expectations. They're very clear. Make sure that everyone K through 5 know what they are and are going to follow these expectations. And the bottom line is that we just want to try to have the online learning as similar as possible to our learning in school. These expectations will include online and offline learning activities. The work week for the week will be found on Google. Not all the components of the learning will happen in the first few weeks, meaning that since we had such a lag and such a delay in March, April, and May and June of in the springtime, we want to focus on the ELA and math as we get started, at least to get a baseline, so get an understanding of where each of our students are, so that we can give them the best possible education out there. So we're going to really focus on the ELA and math to begin, but then slowly bring in our social studies and the sciences and the other components as well too. We are a full Google school. So we strongly encourage you to get a Chromebook. If you don't have your own Chromebook, we have Chromebooks available to you from the district. Those we'll talk about those pickup days for those. iPads, cell phones, and other tablets sometimes are not compatible with some of the extensions and some of the software programs that we will be using. So we strongly encourage that everyone get a Chromebook or a laptop. Again, we will provide them for you if you do need one. We want to make sure that you all understand that the assessments are going to be ongoing throughout this traditional, throughout the virtual learning, and we will be using the traditional report card. In the springtime, we use a virtual report card. We kind of toned it back a little bit, but this year, you know, we feel that we need to work on the full gamut of the skills that's included in the report card. So we will be reporting on that. All right, so what are the expectations? So you look to the next page. We have some things that, you know, we want all our students and our families to do and to try to follow as best they can. You know, number one, first and foremost, follow the daily grade level schedule. It is school, you know, so we do expect that if we have a Google Meet at 9 o'clock in the morning, that you log into that Google Meet at 9 o'clock in the morning and participate to the best of your ability, sign into that classroom on time. We will be taking attendance. Attendance is going to be very key. And when we say attendance, it's going to be attendance in all the Google Meets that we have. If we have a full class Google Meet, we expect all our students to be there. But even if we do breakout sessions and we do smaller groups of maybe 3, 4, or 5 students, we expect those students to be there as well too for those smaller groups. Those are important because that's where we really can drill down and help out our students individually, really look at their skills and work on that. We ask that you come prepared, you know, come to that Google Meet prepared. If you're expected to have any kind of math manipulative, pencil, pen, paper, all those things that you would need on a daily, when you're in school, we want those things available for you when you meet at the Google Meet. Also, if you need help, reach out to your teacher, reach out to your guidance counselor, reach out to myself or Mrs. Schlenker. We're here to help out if you have any problems. The teachers are working hard on creating lessons and creating activities. We expect those activities to be completed, and we expect those activities to be handed in. I know that in the springtime we had some issues where, you know, students said that they handed in an assignment and they go to look at it and it's blank. So we had some questions on that. So we definitely want to make sure that we are on top of that this year. That's where the communication is going to come in very handy between the teacher and the families. Again, communicate with your teacher. That's definitely important. And you know, the biggest thing also is be patient. A lot of this is new for a lot of people. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your son or daughter or your family. We're all learning together. All right, so next page. So here's some virtual learning etiquette. You know, I think we've, in the springtime, we've had a lot of interesting stories that we could probably tell about some of these Google Meets. But first and foremost, I think you try to create a nice, quiet learning environment for your son or daughter. You know, try not to do it in bed. Sometimes we've seen some students laying in bed completing their work. You know, try to get them up, get them at a table, get them somewhere where they are in a good learning space, free from distractions such as TVs, other siblings, pets, etc. You know, I think we can have we had a number of stories of you know, people showing off their cat or their dog during these Google Meets. Again, this is supposed to be a learning activity. This is supposed to be school. We try not to bring in some of those distractions. So try to do that as best that we can. I know not all situations can have that, but the best that we can do is what we're asking for. Wear acceptable school attire. We did have some students coming into these Google Meets with still in pajamas or still in clothing that they probably shouldn't wear to school, or they didn't come with a shirt on at all. So we try to make sure that we wear acceptable school attire, come ready, prepared. Eating during Google Meets, that was always a big question mark last year. We'd had some students eating their lunch during this time or eating a snack. You know, we're going to have designated lunch and breakfast times and snack times set up for you. So try to limit the eating during during those times where you're not interrupting or distracting. You see some kids in kindergarten, first and second, they're eating with their mouth open, they're eating loudly, etc. It is distracting for other students as well, and the teacher. We ask that keep the device cameras on. There's nothing like teaching to a blank screen. Try to keep those device cameras on during all instructional times so that the teacher can see the student. It's visible. This year, we also created a code of conduct or a student handbook. It will be sent to you along with all your materials. Please review that. It goes over all of the different code of conducts, all the different things that we're looking to do this year. It also is going to have a virtual learning etiquette paper or form for you to review with your son or daughter. We ask that you review that with them, sign it, and return it back to us either through the mail or drop it off to us. But we want to make sure that everyone is aware of all of these etiquette expectations that we're doing. And definitely, just like you're in school, you want to collaborate with your peers. You want to be respectful with your peers. Language is, definitely want to make sure we don't want to have any kind of discipline or anything like that going on. So be respectful of everyone on that Google Meet. It is definitely a new adventure for a lot of us, and distractions are many. All right. And again, if you do after this town hall meeting, if you have a question, please feel free to email us. I'm sure you got a lot going in your mind right now. So we want to talk about material distribution. That's the next slide over. So we designated some times on Thursday and Friday, September 10th and 11th, for you to come pick up packets. Like I said, each teacher is designing a packet for every student. They're going to put a welcome back letter, your Google code, any materials that they might need. It's going to have my etiquette paper in there. It's going to have the student code of conduct in there. So from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. grades pre-K, K, and 1. Okay, you'll come up through the circle. We'll have people outside. Just give them your name and your grade level so they can get that packet to you right away. They'll hand it to you, and then you can be on your merry way. 12 to 3 on that same day, September 10th, is going to be grades 2 and 3. Excuse me, I know that there's not any third graders on here, I don't think, or third grade families on here, but it is between 2 and 3. Same thing. When you pull up, give them your name and the grade level that your student is in. We'll get the packet to you right away and get you on your merry way. We also have some evening times or late afternoon times. I know that people work, and it's sometimes crazy to try to get here at 8 o'clock in the morning, etc. But so we designated a 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. That can be all grade levels. We just ask if you can get here between the designated times, do that. But if you can't, we will have people here from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday, September 10th, which is Thursday, to hand out those activities. Friday is for 4th and 5th grade, and any kind of makeup. We do have makeup on Friday from 12 to 3 p.m. If you can't make any of those earlier days, please try to go get to that at that point. Like I said, if whatever is not delivered or handed out on those days, we're going to make every effort to get those delivered to you, to the families. If Ms. Schlenker and myself will have to do a road trip to go out there, we'll do that, but we want to get those in your hands as quick as best that we can. We talk about Chromebook pickups. The dates and times are right there. Thursday and Friday again, September 10th and 11th. Thursday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's over at the high school. It is not at the elementary school. So if you guys are coming here to pick up materials for your son or daughter, the Chromebooks are not here. They're all housed over at the high school. 1 Chromebook per student. And in the springtime, we limited to 1 Chromebook per family. This year, we have enough Chromebooks to supply everybody. So we encourage you to get 1 Chromebook. So if you have 2 or 3 people in your family that need Chromebook, get 2 or 3. Again, we strongly encourage the use of that. Hotspots, we do have hotspots available, I believe, still. If you need some Wi-Fi, please contact me. We'll get you in touch with Mr. Shah, who's kind of spearheading that movement right there. So if you need a hotspot or some Wi-Fi, please let us know. We can try to get that to you. Again, it's over at the high school, about a high school gymnasium. There'll be a tent set up for you. Same thing. You pull up, we'll deliver a Chromebook. You have some paperwork to fill out pretty quick, and then it's all yours. Again, we try to, they are somewhat expensive, so we ask you to try to take care of them as best as possible. We know accidents happen, but Again, those are items that are belong to the district, so try to take care of them just like anything else that you would. Next page, please. So some important people that you should know at Catskill Elementary School. Some of you who are in second grade, you've probably been through this already. Our school nurses, those are going to be huge this year with everything that's going on. But Miss Ashley and Miss Jenkins are our school nurses. We separated our nurses office this year. We have a nurse's office upstairs in the second floor. We have a nurse's office on the ground floor. Again, that's to limit the flow through our nurse's office. Last year, between September and March, we had over 7,000 visits to our nurse's office. Hopefully by separating the nurse's office, we'll lessen the flow. Again, that's for our safety for our students as best as possible. Ms. Adair is our school psychologist. Ms. Merchant is our school counselor. All their emails are available on our website. Go on there, and if you need to email them or definitely give us a call, we can connect you to them. Ms. Kessel and Ms. Oswald are our school social workers. They're very important. They work with us and outside agency. If any questions, I know that social emotional piece is a huge piece with this COVID and being home. So you, son or daughter, have any kind of feelings or need to talk to someone, Ms. Kessel, Ms. Oswald are wonderful sounding boards and a resource for you to help out. So we encourage that. Also in my letter home to you as well is a little of a questionnaire from our social workers about how your son or daughter is feeling, and if they need to talk with anyone, that they're available as well too. Mr. Muirhead is our director of transportation, and we don't really have to worry about that until October, but our food service guy as well too will be providing lunches and breakfasts for our students again this year. So that is pretty much the spiel. Are there any questions? We're not taking questions here, Dr. Cook, or?
We're going to take questions via the chat box. So if you have a question, please put it in the chat and we'll get that question answered.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing phone tag with a woman from the school district to register my 3 kids. I have a kindergarten, a 3rd grader, a 7th grader. I want to make sure my elementary boys are set up for Monday. The best thing to do is get in contact with Miss Nuala Juby. She's charged with registration, so call the elementary school and ask for Miss Juby. I haven't heard who my daughter's teacher is yet. Is that normal? If you were here in the earlier part of the presentation, Mr. Rivers did address that, and you should call the school or he'll have an answer for you before the end of the week.
Yeah, no, typically we usually send out our class list and teachers assignments in early part of August. Again, with this year, with everything going on and the delay of the school opening and virtual learning and students making changes as well, we held on to them just for that. We don't want to start one way and then midstream have to change it up for you. That's not fair to the students. So we waited till we got numbers as far as virtual learning and hybrid when they chose that. Dr. Cook sent out that survey. We're putting the finishing touches on it. We do have a good idea right now as to our class list. We'll be sending out the letters tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow to all our students. But if you have a burning desire, give us a call and we can do the best we can to let you know who they have. And for the other student or the other parent that was asking about the register, just send me an email. My email is on there with your name and your phone number and the number of the student's name, etc. And we'll make sure we get that to Miss Juby to get them registered. She'll give you a call tomorrow.
Going back to what Mr. Rivers said about class lists, traditionally you'll have your class list on time, but again, with the elementary school, we want to make sure that when kids come back on a hybrid, that they have one specific teacher. We want to start off the year like that. If kids are going to be on remote, they have one specific teacher. So we want to make sure it's organized because it's hard as an elementary school teacher to teach students in front of you and students on the screen, okay, who are behind you chiming in remotely. So we're not going to do that. So when we do hybrid, there will be students will be seated in front of the teacher, and there will be other teachers who are designated to those students who are going to be on remote for the first semester. So that's why it's taking a little time to get it organized. but we're not going to do this huge reshuffle prior to October 13th. We're going to take care of that right now, so everything is fluid and everything is organized, so we don't have to go back and forth. So again, we thank you for your patience. Again, we're dealing with a pandemic. These are not normal situations. So again, if you have any further questions, please call Mr. Rivers and give him a call, and he will answer your questions. As far as there was some people, all these questions are coming in. There was some people who asked about registration. If you're having difficulty with getting in contact with Ms. Juby, contact me directly. You can reach me at 518-943-4696, and I will make sure you get the answers to your questions. My email is also rcook, RCOOK, at Catskill, CATSKILL, CSD.org. Any updates on IEP students? Will virtual be difficult? Will they be in person 4 days a week? Again, our goal is to make sure on October 13th that we have students who are at risk, students who have IEPs, students who have ESL services, to make sure that they're here in school 4 out of 5 days a week starting October 13th. Will it be necessary for a preschool or pre-K student to get a Chromebook? Yes, you can pick up a Chromebook for your pre-K student. But again, those are younger students. They'll be relying heavily on packets. Last year, I relied on before school program to get my child to school, although I don't have to worry about it this year to October. I'm assuming this isn't going to be available. Mr. Rivers, can you chime in? I don't believe that's going to be available this year.
Yeah, a lot of those programs are grant funded, and it depends on, depends on the numbers of kids. I think the after school program was about 100 kids, and it was grant funded. With the number of students that we are coming hybrid in half, it's hard for them to, one, get staffing for that. The before school program was through the community center. Our problem is that, do we want to have students coming into the building that are either not, temperature checked or health checked? You're opening up another can of worms with that as well. So at this point, we don't have that service available, at least for the before school. I haven't heard what's going on in the community center, but it's something we can look into it once we start, maybe even get started back in February. If we come back full time, we can look into that.
I have a first grader and a third grader cannot pick up the materials for both at 8 a.m. on Thursday morning. They're scheduled at 2 different times. So a parent has students in multiple grades, Mr. Rivers?
Just give us a call and we'll make arrangements for you.
Okay, just to say, seeing the way other districts are handling going way back, I want to say thank you to Dr. Cook and the staff for doing an amazing job. Put my fears at bay. Thank you so much. Again, we're using a common sense approach. I'm not saying the other school districts aren't doing that, but for me, this is about life or death. I hate to say that, use that analogy, but this is a very serious situation. So we want to go at this at a slow, methodical pace. It's a marathon. It's not a 100-yard dash. I am concerned I won't be getting these letters on time. As Mr. Rivers indicated, he's working on that. Give the school a call. My kindergartner is new to using a Chromebook, and I am worried about keeping up or being able to participate. And I am curious about what requirements are for single-parent homes who work during the day. So, if your child is having difficulty using a Chromebook, that's why we say with the earlier grades, pre-K and kindergarten, we're going to be relying heavily on handouts or worksheets. It's going to take time for them. Hopefully this kindergarten and pre-K student is going to be returning on a hybrid model, and we can help them become more acquainted with that when they're actually here in person.
And we have some Google tutorials out there on our website now. And if you need some more, I do have some links that you can do some Google tutorials that you can look at and hopefully get a little bit some more information through them as well too. If there's something specific that you need help on, give us a call and we'll hook you up with the right person.
If we're coming to pick up materials during the late afternoon or early evening hours on Thursday, do we need to call before we come? No. Those are for all grades from 4 to 6, I believe, on Thursday, September 10th. Mm-hmm. Are students going to be online for 6 hours a day, or are they going to be scheduled for certain times like last year? Mr. Rivers?
Yeah, like we said, we have some designated times for ELA and math, but they won't be on the computer for that entire time. There's going to be breaks in there for lunch and specials and other different breaks on there, independent work. So no, we don't expect the students to be on for 7 hours a day. We expect them to log on, go through a Google Meet with their teacher, maybe do some small group instruction later on, but then have some opportunity to do some independent work on their own.
If a child is in pre-K and third grade, two different children, obviously, and already got their child's teacher, so this parent already got their child's teacher for names for third grade on the letter that went out with the survey, could this potentially change because he was already excited to know who he's going to have? Mr. Rivers?
Yeah, it could potentially change. We try to keep the list as truthful to honest as we can from the beginning. But with the number of students that chose virtual, we had to make some minor changes. So there is a possibility that the third grader might have a different teacher.
And again, as I said before, for an elementary teacher, it's quite difficult to maintain classroom management and instruction with children sitting in front of he or she, and also having students chime in virtually. So we're not going to do that to our elementary teachers. Our secondary teachers can handle that. But elementary teachers, they need to be focused on either hybrid with students in front of them and or students who are going to be doing remote 5 days a week for the remainder of the first semester. What time does virtual learning begin, Mr. Rivers?
It all depends. Probably not before 9 o'clock. We don't have the schedules but a typical day starts at 9 o'clock at the elementary school.
How many hours a day? Okay, we just said that. How many hours a day will pre-K students be on virtually?
Not long to begin. To start off, like I said, Mrs. Heising's gonna put together some packets for them to do at home, and then do some small groups, probably 10 or 15 minutes, just to kind of do a little morning program or some morning work, or the days of the week, things like that together. But then the typical pre-K is only 2.5 hours a day anyway, so we're definitely limit that to the number of hours on the computer for them.
Okay, how does attendance work for those parents who work and their children aren't able to start a specific time?
I mean, that's how we deliver our instructions, through that Google Classroom. So, and that Google Meet. So, and we have to figure out a way. Give us a call, and we can see what we can do to work it out.
Whatever your child's schedule is, your child has to be online at that particular time. So, again, we thank you for your patience. Someone asked a question about our teachers being tested for COVID. Let me explain how we're handling this. Every morning, I said 6:30 before, but now it's going to be 6 o'clock. All of our staff are going to receive a questionnaire. It's a 3-question questionnaire asking them about, have they been exposed to COVID? Have they visited an area that has COVID? Or are they feeling ill? Secondly, after that questionnaire, they have to fill that out before they come in our buildings. The second thing they need to do, they're going to have a temperature or forehead scan every morning before they enter our buildings. If their temperature is at above 100.4 or higher, they're not going to be allowed to enter the building. And we do get an alert when that person's forehead is scanned. And third, our staff as well as students will be wearing face coverings or masks. So, particularly in common areas, the hallways, main offices, etc. When classrooms, when students come back, they will be wearing masks, and the teachers will be having mask breaks throughout that particular class or period. So we're taking this thing very seriously. If anyone's ill, we're suggesting that they stay home. There have been some situations in our community where some of our staff, whether they visited or they worked there, those staff members are staying home until they get tested. So, I know there's some scuttlebutt going on in our community, but we know who those staff are. And again, once they're identified, they will have to be quarantined at home until they get their COVID test taken care of. If it comes back negative, they will be allowed to enter work. So that's how we're handling that. Will we be able to meet the teacher during the first week of school, Mr. Rivers?
Yeah, along with that first week of school, teachers are going to have an opportunity for you to have a Google Meet with them, either in small group or individual. Again, to review some of the expectations, the schedule, any concerns or questions that you might have. So yes, look for that time in your schedule.
Are we going to be picking up packets, or are they going to be mailed out, Mr. Rivers? I believe you put it out in your PowerPoint.
Yeah, packet pickup on Thursday, September 10th for pre-K and first from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock, and for second grade and third grade from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock.
Yeah, we did that during the presentation. So that's the material pickup distribution schedule for that parent who asked that question. Again, Mr. Rivers has some makeup times from 4 to 6 on Thursday and from 12 to 3 on Friday. Let's go back to the questions. How will you decide if school needs to be shut down once in-person learning begins? If there's an outbreak, school's going to be shut down, whoever asks this question. If there's an infection rate threshold, as the governor indicated, anything over 9%, that particular region or district will be closed. But if there's an infection rate here or something occurs here, you will be notified immediately. I don't have time to play games with that. I'm going to be very transparent. I don't have time to play games with anything, to be honest with you. I'm going to be very transparent when it comes to any outbreaks, anything of people being in here at school and not being, or at least testing positive. So you will know that. Class codes will be given out during pickup. Will class codes be given out during pickup on September 10th, Mr. Rivers?
Yes, it'll be with the teacher's letter. Welcome back letter.
How about speech OT, et cetera, PT? That stuff is going to have to take place online.
Yeah, online. You know, we have teachers are going to create their schedule, and they're going to OT, PT, all the related services are going to really look hard at the schedules and try to fit them in where they can.
If we don't receive the packet by Monday, do we call the school Monday morning and see what time our children needs to be online? Ms. Orser, you need to come to the school to pick up the packet. That's what we mean by materials distribution. Again, let's go back to the schedule so that you know when this is available. Let's go back. Material distribution. These are the times and the dates where you can pick up materials for your particular kid or child. Call the school in advance if you cannot come during these times. As Mr. Rivers said, he said he or Ms. Schlenker would make personal home visits, but we want to try to reduce that as much as possible. So please call the school if you're not able to make it either on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, and please try not to, we're not going to have those packets ready till Thursday. Teachers are busy preparing those today and tomorrow. They'll be putting that stuff together, so we won't have them until at least Thursday.
Ms. Kowalski, are the pickup materials for hybrid students only or pickup materials for everyone?
Everybody.
Because we're all starting out virtually. So you ever have a child in this school district at the elementary school, the materials are for all students. How will art, music, gym be handled during virtual learning? Again, Mr. Rivers, you want me to go back to that presentation or can you handle this?
I can handle it. Similar to what we did in the springtime is that the special area teachers are going to have a activity for each week. Typically, if we are in a normal traditional school setting, you would have music, art, and library once every 6 days and PE 3 times every 6 days. So what we did was we just kind of narrowed it down to a 1 week schedule. So you'll have a music activity, you'll have an art activity, you'll have a library activity, and it'll be posted on a Google Classroom, and you'll have those codes as well too. The teacher will send that home. And then, the idea is that the teachers are going to develop a schedule. So say on a Monday at 11 o'clock, okay, we're going to break off of our Google Meet or Google Classroom and then log into your art activity. Go log into your art classroom and complete the art activity at this time. So, typically you'll have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you'll have a music and art and a library. Maybe Thursday, Friday will be PE, depending on what the teacher or the specific grade level teacher designs for their schedule. So you'll have that again scheduled for you. Typically, we're going to have those activities set up for you by Saturday. So you have the weekend to get started on that, but the activity will be due on the following Friday.
Just to clarify, we might have to pick up materials from the elementary school and Chromebooks from the high school, yes. All pickup materials for your child, if he or she's an elementary school student, will be at the elementary school. If you need a Chromebook, you ought to report to the high school near the gymnasium entrance. You'll see a white tented area. That's where you will need to drive up to pick up the Chromebook. Again, 1 Chromebook per student. When will we know if our pre-K student is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when the hybrid model starts? Is there flexibility?
Yeah, there is some flexibility. We'll try to accommodate as best that we can. Um, so once we get the students in, what we like to do is get the students in, and then we're gonna divide them up A day and B days, just so we can try to keep our like skills together, so we can get the most out of our time that we have the students in school with us. So we'll try to. That's what the idea for that is as well.
How are children going to be graded with the virtual learning model?
I mean, just with their activities and their skills, and with the Google Meets, the small group instruction, we can do some assessments during that time. Activities that are going to be posted on the Google Google Classroom. They'll be graded. They'll be turned in and graded as well too.
The next question was about the Chromebook distribution schedule. Let me share that once again, please. The Chromebook distribution schedule, again, this Thursday from 8 to 8, and Friday from 8 to 3. Again, the high school parking lot near the gymnasium entrance, you will see a white tinted area where you can pick up the Chromebook. And again, for some reason, if you can't make it during these 2 days, after this Thursday and Friday, please contact your child's particular school. We'll make sure you get a Chromebook. Let's see if there are any more questions, Mr. Rivers.
Ready for them.
Will I have time to get immunizations needed since they will be home in September? Yes, you will have time to get immunizations that are needed. Please make sure. I thought I saw Miss Ashley on here. Let's see if I can find her. Here's Miss Ashley. Immunizations, Miss Ashley, did you get that question? I'm asking you to unmute. Let's try this again. I don't know what's going on with this button.
Diane, don't touch it. Let Dr. Cook unmute you.
She's not touching it.
All right.
We're having some technical difficulties here. Let's try this again.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, you have time to get your immunizations into the nurses before October.
Is there a specific date in October, or is October the end of October?
The day school starts, we have to have all the students' immunizations up to date and in our offices.
So by October 13th, you will need to have all the immunizations up to date and ready for submission to Ms. Ashley.
Correct.
Thank you, Ms. Ashley. Let's see what other questions we have here. Will the full-time virtual students be following the exact criteria they would be if they were in a hybrid model?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Will they be learning the same things at the same periods as the hybrid kids? So mapping, Mr. Rivers, when it comes to curriculum mapping,
yeah, they're going to be
learning the same thing around the same time of the school year.
Yeah, with our teachers are in lockstep with each other at each grade level. They'll be working in conjunction with each other, and definitely keeping up on the same, at least with the 1 or 2 lessons with each other.
There's a lot of great questions here. Let's see if any more come through. If we signed up for 100% virtual learning, will there be a future option to switch to hybrid learning? Again, once you choose the virtual learning, you will be locked in until the end of January. We will send a survey out in December to see if there's any parents who would like to change their children over to hybrid starting in February. So again, that's what we're anticipating. Anything can change that, but that's our plan right now.
Yeah.
So if you're locked in a hybrid, if you're locked into virtual, and that's your choice, you will have an option and a survey going out in December to change to a different option starting in February. Great question.
And the big reason for that is because, with the amount of students that selected virtual to start out the school year through February, we had to rearrange some teachers, and like Dr. Cook said, that we want to make sure that we're starting off with a teacher in September as a teacher going to have in October, November, and December. And in order for us to, if you change midstream, it messes up with our numbers. We want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to get the education that they need. And so it's hard to keep on switching and changing all the time.
Very good question. Let's see if any more questions pop up. If you switch from virtual to in-person in February, would you keep the same teacher?
That's the plan.
Any other questions? Very good questions here. Again, as Mr. Rivers said, that's why it's taking so long to make sure you have a particular teacher assignment. We want to make sure that things are organized so we're not shifting back and forth throughout the school year, because that's not fair to you as a parent, but it's definitely not fair to you, to your child or children. The same thing for our teachers. This situation is difficult for everyone, from administrators on down. So we want to make sure that things are transparent, and we want to make sure that things are organized moving forward. It may take an extra couple of days, to be honest with you. But again, we're doing the best we can, and we're going to do the best we can to maintain transparency. But we want to make sure things are organized. So if it takes another day or two, I'll take that. So we're dealing with a crisis situation here. We had to rely on a lot of information from governor officials. We had to wait for the governor to make his decision in early August. I don't want to start pointing fingers or blaming people, but when you rely on other people to make decisions for you, there's a domino effect to that. So I don't want you to think that Dr. Cook's unorganized. I don't want you to think that Mr. Rivers is unorganized. I don't want you to think our teachers are organized, because that's not the case. We're very proactive here. But again, when you rely on other people, these are the things that happen, and these are the things that cause a domino effect. But we have to pick up the pieces, and we're moving forward, because we are champions, and that's what champions do. We deal with adversity. We teach our children to deal with adversity so they can be problem solvers, because guess what? When they become adults, you're not going to be able to spoon feed them. They're going to have to deal with that same type of adversity when it comes to problem solving and team and networking and teaming with other individuals, whether they like them or not. So we're teaching those skills here in the Catskill Central School District. So when your children graduate and become college or career ready, they will be able to adapt to adversity, be able to work with a team, be able to problem solve. Okay? School's no longer just becoming a good citizen. That's what we used to say when I was in school. The purpose of school is to problem solve, to adapt, to work collaboratively with people you like or dislike, to work with supervisors you like or dislike. That's part of life. So that's what we're teaching your children here as early as pre-K with those key character ed skills moving forward. So let's take some other questions here. Bus transportation info for hybrid. Again, we want to thank Mr. Muirhead and Ms. Van Alstyne. They're working on that. Again, those surveys, we asked you, if you were coming back on a hybrid, would you need transportation? So hopefully this parent, Ms. DiNardo, checked off that she's going to be having her children take transportation. How do we obtain a Wi-Fi hotspot? You call Mr. Shah, who's the middle school assistant principal. You can call him at the middle school, and he will help you get Wi-Fi hotspot access. Again, we thank Mr. Shah. He secured a grant, and thank you to our county legislator, Mr. Matt Rivera, and all our legislators. They were able to secure funding for us in the spring to obtain hotspot access. We worked diligently, against Mr. Shah worked diligently with Mid-Hudson Cable, Spectrum, and all other cable providers, so we thank him. So Mr. Shah is the key person if you need Wi-Fi access. If I have 3 kids, 2 in the same grade, can we get all 3 going on the same days? That's our goal, to make sure when kids are back in a hybrid, the families are connected, that they're in the same group, whether it's group A or group B. That's why, again, we're taking our time to make sure things are in order and things are transparent. Will there ever be a point where the hybrid kids will be able to go back 5 days a week prior to February? And is the plan for all children to go back in February full time? I can answer that question. Again, we're looking at the numbers. We may be able to get students back in here. Again, I'm not talking about at-risk students or students who have IEPs and or ESL services. We're looking to get back as many students as we can, as quickly as we can. Again, I have a plan, and my plan was clearly articulated, but we're able to get more students back in here earlier than February 1st. We will do that. But again, we have to look at this stuff strategically. We have to make sure social distancing's in place. We have to make sure that things are in order before that. So again, that's our goal, to get as many kids as we can back here on campus as soon as possible, but in a safe manner. That's the key. Let's go back to the chat box. What if my insurance makes me do physicals toward the end of October and getting in to get an appointment to be seen? Miss Ashley, let's go back to Miss Ashley. Insurance purposes, we have a parent who has some questions about that. So I'm asking you to unmute, okay?
That's fine. We'll accept the physicals. That's not a problem.
We'll do the best we can to work with your family.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, let's go back to that parent. I'll make sure I have the name correct. So Ms. Green, we'll do our best to work with you and your family. How are you going to implement the COVID report card reporting the COVID spoke of today? It's a daily report card. Whoever brought this question, Ms. Story, this is a daily report card that I have to upload for each and every school on a daily basis. So that's going to be reported daily. It has to be reported before 3 p.m. each and every day. I believe they gave us until 5 o'clock. But again, I'm responsible for filling out that report card, and that's something that I'm going to be doing. Thank you very much. I'm here if you want to talk about hotspots. Let's see if we can find Mr. Shah. Mr. Shah's here. He's on point. Let me see if I can find him. I didn't see him, but here he is. Mr. Shah, I just asked you to unmute. There you go. If you want to speak about hot spots.
Yes, I can. I'm actually here for my daughter who's going into kindergarten, so I'm thrilled about that. Hi, Mrs. Howland. She can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks or next week. So for the hotspot access, how it works is you can give me a call at school. If there are any parents on here that had their hotspots or had their Wi-Fi through minutes and cable through us last year, on September 12th, it's going to restart automatically. So just plug all your information or your equipment in, and it will work on the 12th. And if you need a hotspot, I will speak to you about your location and your address. And based on your location, we'll get you either AT&T or Verizon or whatever coverage is best for where you live in Catskill.
Thank you, Mr. Shah.
Yep, and you can call me at the middle school tomorrow, 943-5665, extension 1322, or you can email me. I'm by email usually often.
If you can repeat that number again, please.
Yep, it's 518-943-5665, and my extension is 1322.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shah.
No problem, thank you.
Many of our staff also serve as parents in the district, and that makes a better community. So again, thank you, Mr. Shah. Thank you, Mr. Shah in the background. Congratulations to the family. Okay, so let me go back to the chat. I want to make sure I understand, if a virtual student goes back to school in February, they will keep the same teacher. So what about the kids who stay virtual? It would state a teacher would have a hard time doing both at the same time. So let me find Mr. Rivers. Mr. Rivers.
Yep. So hopefully by February, we're all back. And then, you know, we're all back in February, and then, you know, whatever whatever path you chose, either hybrid or virtual, you're going to try to maintain that teacher throughout the rest of the school year.
Thank you, Mr. Rivers. Let's go back to the chat box. See if there's any other questions. We're nearing the hour mark. But if there are any other questions, we ask that you call the school, you speak to Mr. Rivers and his staff. They will answer your questions as soon as they can. Again, we have a 24 to 48-hour return policy. Questions, phone call, email. So again, we will do what we can as quickly as possible to get you the answers or the information that you need. Let's check the chat box one more time. There's no other questions in the chat box. So hopefully, again, this virtual town hall meeting for the parent orientation is being recorded. So we're going to put this on the elementary school website. So again, if you would like to take a look at it in the future, you can. We also encourage you to visit the new normal. We have a new normal video. We encourage you to take a look at that. Thank you to Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Rivera, Mr. Mioris, and again, our entire administrative team and students who participated in that simulation. They did an outstanding job. So we put these videos online for a purpose, so you can refer back to them. Last week, we did Google Classroom training. So again, we thank our teachers for doing a great job. At the elementary school was Mrs. Coombs. She did a great job with that presentation. Mr. McNamee, he did the middle school presentation, and Ms. Loomis facilitated the high school presentation. We also had a parent reentry social emotional webinar. You can find that webinar on our website. Again, these resources are at your fingertips. Not a lot of school districts do this. And I don't mean to toot our own horn, but we believe in over communicating in this particular point. So again, we apologize if it's too much for you, but we want to make sure that we close the gaps from the issues that occurred back in the spring, that we provide you with training, we provide you with resources, we provide you with updates as often as possible so that you can stay connected with the school. Again, all of our staff is back here on campus. We didn't have that in March through June. So again, if you need to reach out to a staff member, whether it's through email, through phone call, if you need to visit the school, we ask that you call in advance to make an appointment. Again, you're gonna have to go through all the safety protocols that our staff goes through. You have to fill out the questionnaire, you have to have your temperature scanned, you're gonna have to have a face covering. So again, if there's a need for you to visit our school building, to go inside, that's the protocol that you must follow as well. Let's see, I think there's two other. Will the presentation, Mr. Rivers, be the same tomorrow for grades 3 through 5?
Very, very similar.
Very, very similar. Again, if you cannot make it, it will be online the following day. If school does reopen in February and we're still not comfortable, can they stay virtual? Yes. This virtual model will be in place for those parents who feel uncomfortable for the remainder of the school year. So again, we hope that there's some type of vaccine that comes out. Again, there may be some parents who are a little hesitant with the vaccine when it first comes out, but we want to make sure that you have options, and those options are available minimally for the remainder of this school year. So that option will remain available. Thank you for all. You're doing a great job. Thank you for taking time with all these questions and cases. Thank you so much. Again, at this particular point, we're nearing the 7:30 mark. We thank you once again, and have a good evening. And let's see, one more popped up. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. And we encourage you to stay connected with our school district. Thank you so much, and have a good evening. Thank you, Mr. Rivers. Job well done.
Thank you.